Hello students, in this video I have a CBSE class 12 chapter from Flamingo Deep Water, authored by William Douglas. Full name William Orville Douglas. William Orville Douglas was born on October 16 in 1989 in Minnesota, USA. He was appointed as an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of America for 36 years and 211 days. He was appointed on this post on 1939 and he worked at this post till 1975. And he was appointed by one of his close friends named FDR. FDR is the short name of Frederick Delano Roosevelt, who was the 32nd President of US. FDR served as a president of US from 1933 to 1945 till his death. In 1945 he dies. After having the graduation degree, that is Bachelor of Arts in English and Economics, William Orville Douglas spent 2 years teaching his high school in Yakima. Yakima is a place in America. So he taught in high school section. However, he got tired of this and he decided to pursue a legal career. It means that he was not interested. He started his career as a teacher, but he was not so much interested in this teaching. So he discarded that profession of teaching, and then he proceeded towards legal career. Means he wanted to be something in judicial system. He met Franklin D. Roosevelt, that is known FDR also, at L is a place which is in US, and became an advisor and friend to the president. So as I told you that Franklin D. Roosevelt was the 32nd president of US, appointed in 1933 and worked till 1945 at this post. Douglas was a leading advocate of individual rights. He became an advocate as he left his teaching career and proceeded towards legal career. So he became advocate initially, and he always fought for the individual rights for the people. He retired in 1975 with a term lasting 36 years and remaining the longest serving justice in the history of the court. So he served as a justice from 1939 to 1975. This present chapter, the following the chapter has been taken from his famous book of Men and Mountains, which was published in 1950. In this chapter, he is writing that how a young boy, William Douglas, means it is a personal account of William Douglas. William Douglas is sharing his own experience of child age to us. He had a dreadful experience in his child age. So he's sharing, so you can say that this chapter is an autobiographical chapter. It is an autobiography of the author. So he is describing here that how a young boy, while he was a young boy and almost drowned in the water in swimming pool. In this essay, he talks about his fear of water, and thereafter he is talking about the fear of water, and after that, how he finally overcame it and how he registered victory over his fear of water. Notice how the notice means you have to be careful. You will learn in this chapter that how the autobiographical part of the selection is used to support his discussion of fear. Means he is discussing the fear of him which he experienced in his childhood. Actually, I would like to discuss the theme of this chapter. The theme of this chapter is that if you have firm determination, if you are determined to do anything, no obstacles, no problems can stop you from achieving your success. If you are a strong-minded person, if you are a strong-willed person, success will be definitely yours. If you are not accepting defeat by heart, if you are only being defeated literally, but if you are still mentally strong and want to achieve success, you will be successful. Let's start the chapter now. Line 1 illustration. It had happened when I was 10 or 11. As you all students, you all have to remember well that it is the autobiographical element of the author. So he is describing his childhood experience. It had happened when I was 10 or 11 years old. This incident which he is going to describe in this chapter, which took place while he was 10 or 11 years of age, I had decided to learn to swim. Author decided to learn swimming. There was a pool at YMCA in Yakima that offered exactly the opportunity. there was a pool, swimming pool, that is at the YMC. YMC means the full form YMCA, Young Men Christian Association. It is a kind of association for which works for the health and for physical fitness. So in YMCA, which was situated in Yakima, his local place, his local city, that offered, means this pool provided exactly the opportunity, means it was very suitable place for learning swimming. The Yakima river was treacherous because he wanted to go in Yakima river also. There was a river also named Yakima because the place named Yakima. There was a Yakima river as well. But Yakima river was very dangerous. It was very treacherous. It was not safe to learn swimming. For learners, it was not safe. Mother continually warned against it, and whenever he desired to go to Yakima river rather than YMCA swimming pool, his mother all the time kept him reminding against it. Means his mother all the time told him that it is not a good place to go there, and kept fresh in my mind the details of his drowning in the river. And his mother all the time told him, whenever he wished that he want to go to the Yakima river and learn swimming there, his mother told him the stories of drowning. Means so many people have already drowned in this river, Yakima river. That's why it's a treacherous, dangerous river. So his mother told that if you want to go there, listen this story first, that is very dangerous river, so please don't go there. That's why author selected the swimming pool for his suitable place to learn swimming. But the YMCA pool was safe. But YMCA pool was not treacherous like Yakima river. It was safe. It was only 2 or 3 feet deep at the shallow end. Why it was a safe place, swimming pool? Because it was only 2 or 3 feet deep at the shallow end. Means the end, which was the portion of the pool which was not too deep, very shallow. It was very narrow. You can say that was only 2-3 feet, and while it was 9 feet deep at the other, and the highest depth of this, the maximum depth of this pool was 9 feet. That was at the other end. The drop was gradual. Then gradually the drop, means the depth of the pool was gradually decreasing. That was drop. So drop was gradual. Means maximum was 9. Then it started decreasing 9, 8.5, 8, like that. I got a pair of water wings. Author for swimming purpose, to learn swimming purpose, he bought a pair of water wings and went to the pool. And he went to the pool for the purpose to learn swimming. I hated to walk naked into it and show my skinny legs. Author was actually very skinny, very lean and thin. He was very physically very feeble. So and while he wore the swimming gown, you know that swimming costume is very very tight fitting. So he saw his skinny legs, his lean and thin legs. He hated that, how lean and thin his legs are. But I subdued my pride and did it. But he controlled his pride, self-pride, that how lean and thin he is, and did it. And he went for swimming. Did it means he continued, he proceeded. From the beginning, however, he says that even while he went to learn swimming, from the beginning, I had an aversion to the water. He had already a kind of hatred to the water when I was in it. When he when he descended in the water of swimming pool for swimming purpose, in the swimming pool water for the swimming purpose, he had already had a kind of hatred towards water. Why? This started when I was 3 or 4 years old. Why author had an aversion, hate to for the water? Reason is here. While author was 3 or 4 years old, and his father took me to the beach in California. He went with his father to the sea beach at California. He and I stood in the surf. He means author and I means he means author, father, and I means author. He said that me and my father stood in the surf, means in the waves of the sea at the sea beach. I hung on to him. Author was all the time holding his father. Yet the waves knocked me down because only 4 years, 3 or 4 years of age. But even after that, a big wave of sea came and that is strike against the author. The author was only a small child. That's why he fell into the water and water swept over him. I was buried in water and he was almost buried in the water. He was completely covered by water. My breath was gone and he felt suffocated. I was frightened. Father laughed. He was frightened by this incident, but his father laughed because he knew that only it is not a drowning case. But there was terror in my heart. But he was only 3 or 4 years. That's why this even a minor incident created a kind of terror or fear into his heart at the overpowering force of the waters. Why a fear created into his mind? Because he knew very well that the force of water is overpowering. Means no one can defeat the waves of water. They are very strong, overpowering. Means the power can't be over by anyone. Power can't be taught by anyone. My introduction to the YMCA swimming pool. Again, so this incident took place with him while he was 3 or 4 years of age in California sea beach with his father. That's why he had already a kind of hatred towards water. And while he again came while he was 10 or 11 years of age to the YMCA swimming pool, revived unpleasant memories. His unpleasant memories while he was 3 or 4 years, that he was almost buried in the water, that again become revived, again came into his mind, and he stirred childish fears. And the childish fears, the fear which he has in 3 or 4 years of age, stirred means again came back. But in a little while I gathered confidence, but in some time he hesitated to learn swimming, to remember that incident which he faced in 3 or 4 years of age while he came to the YMCA swimming pool. He reminded all those dreadful experience, but in some time he gathered his confidence. I paddled with my new water wings. Paddle means he wore the water wings by which he will learn swimming very easily. Watching the other boys and trying to learn by aping them, he was still not knowing how to swim. So there were other boys also who were swimming, and other people also swimming in the swimming pool. Author started to learn swimming by trying to learn by he tried to learn the swimming by aping means following, imitating, doing as others were doing the steps. I did this 2 or 3 times on different days. On different days he did it 2 or 3 times. Means only he made on a single day he made only effort 2 or 3 times, not so many efforts, and was just beginning to feel at ease. And now after spending 2 or 3 days at the YMCA swimming pool, and now he started beginning to feel ease. Means I started feeling confidence, and he was in condition to apply himself completely to learn swimming in the water when the misadventure happened. Means he had already kind of aversion to the water, and after 2 or 3 days swimming, self swimming in the swimming pool, YMCA swimming pool, he started getting some confidence, and a fear of water replaced. But all of a sudden a very misadventurous incident happened with him. A very bad incident happened with him. What was that? I went to the pool when no one else was there. This is the incident of a day which is called that misadventure. Let's listen this very carefully. I went to the swimming pool, no one else was there. Today, suppose that author came for 3 days. It was the 4th day while he came today. Today while he came, no one was there. Means he came very early and he was all alone there. The place was quiet. Means no one was there, so it was a quiet and silent place. The water was still. There was no movement in the swimming pool water because no one was swimming there. So and the tiled bottom was white as clean as a bathtub, and he could see the tiled bottom, the bottom of the swimming pool, which was arranged with tiles. Tiles were arranged in the bottom of the swimming pool. The water was so clean that the tiled bottom of the swimming pool was visible as it was a bathtub. I was timid about going in alone, and author had timid means author scared. Author was fearing to descend in the water alone for learn swimming. Reason that author was still a learner in swimming, and because there was no one there, he was all alone today. And if he will descend today into the water, perhaps he will sink, and if no one is here, no one will save him. So he thought, so I sat on the side of the pool to wait for others. So he sat on the side of the pool and he started waiting for other people to arrive. And then he thought that I will learn swimming. I had not been there long when in came a big bruiser, a boy probably 18 years of old. Author sat at the side of the swimming pool and he started waiting for others to arrive. He had not waited for a long time. When a big bruiser means a very big size, tall size bruiser means a strong, heavy built, you can say a very healthy, very strongly built young boy came. Probably that boy was 18 years of age. He had thick hair on his chest. He was also wearing the swimming gown, so his chest hair was visible. He has very thick hair, a lot of hair on his chest. He was a beautiful physical specimen. He was a very nice physical specimen, means you can say example of a very good physique. Means he was a very well built. You can say that as people do gym and others and make their body very healthy. So he was looking just like that, with the legs and arms that showed ripples muscles. On his legs and arms there was a rippling muscles, means muscles in a movement, means his muscles were very strong, looking very strong. He yelled, and as this big bruiser of 18 years came close to the author, he yelled, means he spoke, "Hi Skinny," as author was very lean and thin, so he called him Skinny, author. He said, "Hi Skinny, how would you like to be ducked?" Ducked means swim. He said that, "How do you like to be swim?" What with that, and saying this, that "Hi Skinny, how would you like to be ducked?" Saying this, that 18-year young big bruiser, strong boy, with that he picked me up. He picked the author into his arms and tossed me into the deep end, and he threw the author into towards the deep end of the pool that was 9 feet deep. I landed in a sitting position, and he was sitting at the, and he landed means he went to the bottom of the swimming pool as he was sitting beside the sitting position, swallowed water. On the way, in the process of breathing, he swallowed some water and went at once to the bottom, and immediately he reached to the bottom. I was frightened. Author was very frightened, but not yet frightened out of my wits. But he was not so much frightened that he was not going to use his wit means mind. But still, whenever we are in problem, first of all, our mind stops working. But here, author is fearful, but still his mind in his control. On the way down, I planned, and while he was going from surface of the swimming pool to the bottom, in this duration, though it is a very momentary journey, but he planned to escape, that how he will come out of the water. When my feet hit the bottom, this is his plan actually. He planned on the way that as soon as my feet will hit the bottom of the pool, I will make a big jump, come to the surface, and as a result of that big jump, I will come to the surface, lie flat on it, and as soon as I will come the flat of the surface of the water, means out of the water, then I will lie flat on this on the water and paddle to the edge of the pool. And I will paddle means I will use my hands and legs in the swimming gesture, and I will come to the side of the pool. It seemed a long way down, but as he started sinking from the surface of the water swimming pool to the bottom, it seemed to be a long way down. Those 9 feet were more like 90 feet. He was so much actually frightened that those 9 feet only seemed 90 feet, that it was not coming soon. And before I touched bottom, my lungs were ready to burst. And before it touched the bottom, wherefrom he has to execute his plan, that he has made that up jump, come to the surface, and I will paddle and I will come out. His lungs were already about to burst, means blast. Why? Because he has swallowed a lot of water. But as soon as his feet hit bottom, I summoned all my strength. He had remained only very few strength in his body, very less strength in his body. But he gathered all his strength, power in his body, and made what I thought was a great spring. And he made what according to him was a very big jump upwards, means towards the surface of the water. I imagined I would bob to the surface like a cork. While he jumped, he thought that he would bob, means he will come to the surface of the water like a cork. Cork is a very light material. He thought that as soon as I will jump, I will come like a cork to the surface of the water. Instead, but rather than coming to the surface to the water like a cork, I came up slowly. He came very slowly. I opened, means whatever he had made plans, the things are going just opposite to the plan. He came very slowly in place of coming fast. He expected that he will come fast, but he is coming very slowly. I opened my eyes. He opened his eyes and saw nothing. In expectation, he opened his eyes. That after getting jumped, in expectation, he opened his eyes that he is out of the water. But while he opened his water, he saw nothing but water. There was nothing but, because still he was under the water. So he opened his eyes and saw nothing. That had a dirty yellow tinge of it. And he found the dirty yellow tinge, the yellowish color water appeared. What yellowish color water? When you were inside the water, try to see the color of the water. If you open your eyes and try to see the color of the water, it will appear yellowish. So that is the yellowish water. Water is still in the color as we see the water. Okay, what is the colorless thing? It is not yellowish, but yellowish it will appear while you will try to see the water under the water from inside it. I grew panicky. He became panic means he's scared. I reached up as if to grab a rope. Now he raised his hands means he is spreading his hands to try to grab a rope, and by means he is very desperate to save himself, escape himself, because he felt that he is about to die and he will now sink. That's why in desperation he is stretching his hands to get some rope, and my hand clutched only water, but there was no rope actually in the swimming pool. In the effort of catching rope, he is able to grab only water. I was suffocating. Now he was suffocating means he was having problem in breathing. I tried to yell. He was trying to cry for help, but no sound came out because he was inside the water. So no sound came out. Then my eyes and nose came out of the water. Then suddenly his eyes and then his nose came out of the water, but not my mouth. But his mouth is still inside water. I fled means strike. Hit on the surface of the water in desperation. At the surface of the water, I swallowed and choked. But in the effort of coming out of the water, he swallowed some more water and he choked. His breathing was being more improper. I tried to bring my legs up. As his nose and eyes came out of the water, he tried to bring his legs up on the surface of the water, but they hung as dead weights. But the legs were not coming out of the water, as they were dead, paralyzed and rigid. His legs were not responding, as they were got paralyzed and rigid. Paralyzed, not paralyzed means he was so much scared. Suppose you can imagine that if a child of 11 years of age, 10 or 11 years of age is sinking in the water, how much he will be frightened. So he is very frightened, and because of fear, his legs are not properly responding his mind. And rigid means as legs have become determined that they will not move. A great force was pulling me under. He was trying to come out of the water, but instead of that, in place of that, a great force was pulling him inside the water. I screamed, he cried, but only the water heard me. But there was no one else there. Only the water heard him, because his mouth was still underwater. So his voice was not. No one listened him. I had started on the long journey back to the bottom of the pool. Now he started sinking for the second time towards. He came to the surface, just his nose and eyes, and now he started again sinking towards the bottom of the pool. That's why I say that I started my long journey. The long journey means the 9 feet depth seemed him 90 feet in the first attempt. Now he's sinking for the second time. You could imagine that what would be going into his mind, how fearful he would have been. I struck at the water as I went down. He was striking at the water as he went down, because he felt that he was about to escape. At least his nose and eyes came out of the water, but again he was sinking. So in desperation, he's striking on the water to come out, expending my strength. But as a result, what he's doing, he's only expending he's losing his strength, physical strength, as one in a nightmare fights as irresistible force. As one does in a nightmare fights. Nightmare is a bad dream, a horrible dream, which you see in, suppose that you are dreaming, you are sleeping and you are having a very dangerous dream, and some lion is chasing you in that dream, and if you are trying to escape yourself from that lion, that effort is only that irresistible power force, that is strong force that you are using to escape from that lion in that dream is totally useless, because as soon as your eyes are open, you feel that I was in dream. Similarly, he is doing here. I had lost all my breath, but till this time he has lost all his breathing power. My lungs ached. His lungs were now aching because of swallowing too much water. My head throbbed. His head was throbbed means his head was out of idea actually. I was getting dizzy. He was getting dizzy means he was getting out of ideas. His head was giving dizzy spells. But I remembered the strategy. But even after these all the things, he remembered the strategy, the plan. What was the plan? That I would spring from the bottom of the pool. That as soon as my leg will hit to the bottom of the pool, I will jump, spring, and come like a cork to the surface, and come like that cork means light material to the surface. I would lie flat on the water, and then his first plan, that as soon as his legs will touch to the bottom of the tiled bottom of the swimming pool, he will jump and he will come to the surface, and as soon as he will come to the surface, he will lie flat on the water, strike out with the arms. Then he strike means he will strike water with his arms and thrash with my legs, and he will thrash he will strike with his water his legs also, means he will adopt swimming gesture. Then I would get to the edge, he will be capable of coming to the edge of the swimming pool and be safe, and he will be safe. It was his planning which he attempted in first attempt also, and he had well planned for second attempt also. I went down but he was going down endlessly. Again I want to repeat that as in the first attempt he was sinking from surface to the bottom, the 9 feet depth seemed him 90 feet. Now he is sinking for the second time. You could imagine that now perhaps he would have been feeling that 9 feet like 900 feet. I opened my eyes. He opened his eyes. Nothing but water with a yellow glow. He could not see anything because he was inside water. He saw only the yellowing bluish water, dark water that one could not see through. Dark water means now there was a darkness in front of him because there was no hope of escaping him. And then a stark terror seized me. And then all of a sudden a sheer, means you can say pure, stark, a very tense kind of terror seized him, grabbed him. He felt very scared. Terror that knows no understanding. The terror which came into his mind right now, that knows no understanding, means it is a kind of status, it is kind of condition. When a person is so much terrified that he is not able to understand that he is safe or he is unsafe, means he become totally terrified. The terror which was not able to understand anything, terror that knows no control, terror which have no control. If you are captured by this kind of terror, you would have no control on yourself. The author was suffering from right now the same terror that no one can understand. This terror, such type of terror, cannot be understood by those persons who had not experienced it. Only those person can understand this kind of terror who has experienced it, who has already felt it. I was sinking underwater. He was weeping underwater. I was paralyzed. He was almost paralyzed underwater. Stiff, his body was being stiff, means motionless, momentless, rigid. His body organs were being adamant, determined with fear, because he was so much terrified that his body organs were not responding. Even the screams in my throat, even the cry for help in his throat were frozen. Now were frozen, means he was not able to speak properly. Only his heart, means the rest, everything was indicated that he was dead, but only his heart and the pounding in my heart, and the pounding means the positive idea in his head was suggesting him that I was still alive, that author was still surviving. Otherwise, his rest body organs were not supporting. And then in the midst of terror, and then again in all the surroundings of terror, there were only terrible incidents. A touch of reason. There came a reason into his mind. I must remember to jump when I hit the bottom. Though his body organs were not supporting, he was scared a lot. A very stark terror came into his mind. He had lost all his hope to escape from this water, but still he was remembering his strategy, his planning, that as soon as my leg will hit to the bottom, I have to jump. At last I felt the tiles under me, and finally in the second, while he was sinking for the second time, he felt that the tile bottom was under his legs. My toes reached out as if to grab them, and his toes touched to the tile bottom of the swimming pool. I jumped with everything I had, and he jumped with everything, means all the strength in his body which he was remaining till now. He jumped with his full force. But the jump made no difference. But this jump made also no difference. The water was still around me. He jumped, came up to few distance in the water, opened his eyes to see that, but still there was nothing around him. There was only water. I looked for ropes. Again he stretched his hands and legs for catching some ropes, some ladders, some water wings. Nothing but water. Why water wings was not there? Because he was sitting at the pool, at the side of the pool, and waiting for someone to come, and thereafter he would have over that water wings. He was not wearing water wings while the boy came and threw him into the water. So he was searching for water wings, nothing but water, but he could find nothing, only water was around him. A mass of yellow water held him. Mass means a big amount of yellowish water was surrounding him. Stark terror took an even deeper hold on him. The dangerous terror now became deeper and deeper, means he was already terrified, but the terror increased like a great charge of electricity as any person has electric shock. I shook and trembled and with fright. Because of fear, his whole body is shook and trembled. He was, means you can say he was so much trembled by God now. My arms would not move, his arms were not moving, my legs would not move, his legs were not moving. I tried to call for help. He tried to call for help, to call for mother. He was trying to call for help mother, because whenever we are in problem, only the first person whom we remember is our mother. So he tried to call his mother also for help, but nothing happened, no one came. And thereafter, strangely, all of a sudden, there was light in front, as he was having darkness. Now he has light in front of his eyes. I was coming out of the awful yellow water. Why light was there? Because again, in the second time also, his eyes came out of the water. So as his eyes came out of the water, he saw the light outside. Coming out of the awful means fearful, painful yellowish water. At least my nose were, his eyes came, his nose were out, my nose was almost out too. Then I started down a third time, but again he started sinking for the third time towards the bottom of the pool. I sucked for air. He sucked means he tried to breathe and took some air, but got water in place of the air, and yellowish light was going out, and the yellowish light was going out now. Means the light which he saw of the sunshine, now that was going out. Then all effort ceased. Then he accepted his defeat. Now he accepted his defeat. He became hopeless that he will be able to. He thought that now no one can save me and I will die. So all the effort he ceased. He discarded. I relaxed. Now he will feel relaxed. Even my legs felt limp. His legs were feeling very powerless. There was no power in his legs, and the blackness swept over my brain. And the only blackness was there over his head, means he has no ideas in his mind. It wiped out fear, and that blackness cleared his fear also. Now he has no fear. It wiped out terror. His terror also left him. Reason? Because he surrendered and he accepted his defeat. There was no more panic. Now he was not panicking. Now he was not fearing. He's not scared. It was quiet and peaceful. Now he's feeling very quiet and peaceful. Nothing to be afraid of. He thought that there is nothing to be, because he accepted his possible death. This is nice. Now he felt that, oh, how nice it is to be drowsy. Drowsy means he was feeling like just a sleepy person. To go to sleep. He thought that now I'm going to sleep, a permanent sleep. No need to jump. He thought that there is no benefit to jump. Too tired to jump, because he was so tired that he could not jump also. It is nice to be carried gently. Now he felt that water is carrying him to the bottom and he is going to die. The same water which was creating problem for him, now he felt that it was so nice and very gently carrying the water to float along in space. And he thought that as he was flying in the space, not in the water, tender arms around me, and he felt that the tender arms, very delicate arms of water, are just around him. Tender arms like mother, as mother's arms are very tender. Whenever mother took us in her arms, she took very tenderly, very delicately, while she loves us. Now I must go to sleep. And then he accepted his possible death, and he thought that I must go to sleep means I have to die. I crossed to the oblivion. Then he crossed to the oblivion, means oblivion is kind of a state where any person ceased all his efforts to escape himself. Oblivion is a state, again I am repeating it, oblivion is a state where a person leaves all his effort to escape himself. Where a person becomes totally hopeless, frustrated. Author become also very frustrated, and he ceased all his efforts to escape himself. He accepted his possible death, and the curtain of life fell, and he thought that the curtain of life will fall today, means he will die. That's all for today in this video. I will continue this chapter in part 2.